So, good evening everyone. Today we will discuss about the another important topic of the human reproduction, that is nothing but the hormonal control of oogenesis. So, how it will happen? As we know that in spermatogenesis, the hypothalamus which will release the what? GnRH hormone. Here also this hypothalamus which will release the hormone, that is GnRH. What do you mean by GnRH? It is gonadotropin. So, gonadotropin releasing hormone. So, which will, when the increased level of this GnRH, which will act on where? It will act on the anterior pituitary. So, this anterior pituitary, when it is the GnRH increases, so when it is act on this anterior pituitary, it will release the or it will stimulate the two types of hormone, that is nothing but the LH and the FSH. So what do you mean by LH? That is nothing but the luteinizing hormone, and FSH is nothing but the follicle stimulating hormone. These both hormone which will works on the ovary, which will this LH and the FSH which will works on the ovary. So this FSH which will stimulate the growth of the ovarian follicle in the ovary, that is from the oogonium, it will what will do? They will further the oocytes and the primordial follicles to more developed. So to the more, that means from primary to secondary to till ultimately the Graafian follicle. That is from the oogonium to further oocytes of the primordial follicle to more developed growing follicle. That is ultimately the Graafian follicle. It is developed by the effect of what? By the effect of FSH. So by this effect from the primary to till the Graafian follicle it is developed. Now with this development of this follicle, what they will do? They will release the certain amount. From here there is certain amount of the estrogen has been released. From every primary, secondary and the Graafian follicle, they will release a certain amount of estrogen. So they will release the certain amount of the estrogen. So they will release the certain amount of the estrogen. So when the estrogen level it is increased, so when more developed Graafian follicle will release a more number of estrogen. So by that time, so when this estrogen level it is increased, what will happen? They have a negative feedback on the FSH, that means on the anterior pituitary. How it will give a negative feedback? So they will inhibit, they will prevent the release of FSH. When the estrogen level is increased, it will inhibit or it will prevent the release of FSH, which will have a negative feedback on this anterior pituitary. So when it is this increase, so this estrogen which will be increased, they have a positive impact on the LH which is on the anterior pituitary. So what will do? So when it is the estrogen level is increased on the LH, they have a positive feedback on the LH. They will stimulate, they will release what? They will secretion. So LH will be secreted. So high level of estrogen which will increase the LH, which will stimulate what? It will stimulate the ovulation of the Graafian follicle. As we know that, what do you mean by ovulation? Ovulation is nothing but the when the Graafian follicle will burst or release the oocyte. That is nothing but the ovulation, right? The Graafian follicle when it is ruptured, that means the oocyte when it is released. So after this ovulation, the follicle cells from the carpus, that is the ruptured from the whatever the things it is ruptured from the follicle, which is nothing but the corpus luteum, right? So this corpus luteum will synthesize the three types of the hormone. So that is inhibin, progesterone and the estrogen. So they will release the three types of the hormone. After this ovulation, please note that after the ovulation, the Graafian follicle, as we know that the Graafian follicle will release the oocyte, that is nothing but the ovulation. So when it is released, when it is burst or it is released, so they will release the corpus luteum. That means the corpus luteum which is without oocyte. So this corpus luteum will synthesize three types hormones. It is inhibin, progesterone and the estrogen. So this inhibin will inhibit the FSH. So this inhibin which will be inhibits the, they will give a negative feedback on the FSH release. So this inhibin which will inhibits the release of inhibin on the from the anterior pituitary, that means from the pituitary gland. So the whatever the FSH is release, the FSH hormone is going to release, it will inhibits. So this is the role played by the inhibin hormone. So this progesterone which is a negative feedback on this hypothalamus, which have a negative feedback on the hypothalamus, where it will suppress. So what will happen? It will suppress the GnRH. So it will suppress the GnRH. How it will do? So whatever the secretions which is done in the anterior pituitary to release this LH and FSH, it will be suppressed by this progesterone. That is have a negative feedback on this hypothalamus. That means the GnRH will suppress the releasing of the LH and the FSH. That means FSH and LH will be release will be stopped. So, and what is the play role by this progesterone? So this progesterone will have a role in the formation of the new endometrium wall on the uterus. So they will provide a role, or they play a role to formation of the new endometrium wall in the uterus. So this is about the hormonal control of oogenesis. So when it is the corpus luteum, it will be developed. So what will happen? The corpus luteum develops and they will form what? Corpus albicans, right? So that develop the corpus albicans, this progesterone and inhibins will stop. So that will be stop. So this is about the hormonal control of oogenesis. It is very much important for the point of view. So once again I will repeat. So this hypothalamus which will release the GnRH. So this increased level of GnRH which will be act on the anterior pituitary. So when it is act on this anterior pituitary, it will release or stimulates two types of hormone. That is nothing but LH and the FSH. So these both hormone which will act on what? Ovary. Which will act on the ovary. So this FSH which will be stimulates the growth of the ovarian follicle in the ovary. That is from the primordial follicle to the more developed, ultimately where? Till the Graafian follicles. So once it is developed of the follicle, where what will they do? They will release a certain amount of estrogen from here. So they will release the certain amount of estrogen. When it comes here, it will release more number of estrogen. When the level of the estrogen is increases, so which will have a negative feedback. So which will have a negative impact on where? On the FSH release. So which will have a negative impact on the FSH, where this FSH is released from this anterior pituitary, right? So it will prevent the release of FSH hormone. So as I told, the estrogen is increased. When the high level of estrogen is increased, which is have a positive impact on the LH. So they have a, that means the high level of estrogen which will increase the LH, which will stimulate the ovulation of the Graafian follicle. So this Graafian follicle which will rupture and oocyte will be released. After this ovulation, the follicle cells from the Graafian, that is follicle cell from the corpus luteum, what will they? Without they don't have a oocyte, right? So this corpus luteum will synthesize the three types of hormone, that is inhibin, progesterone and the estrogen. So inhibin, so what they will do? They have a negative feedback on the FSH release hormone. So this inhibin have a negative feedback on the FSH releasing hormone. This inhibin which will inhibits the release of FSH on the pituitary, that is nothing but the anterior pituitary. So next is this progesterone. So this progesterone which is have a negative impact, which is have a negative feedback on the where? Hypothalamus, which is having a negative impact on the hypothalamus, where what they will do? They will suppress this suppress the GnRH. Why it is suppressed? To secrete from the what? So it is to release this anterior, which will act on the anterior pituitary to release what? LH and the FSH. This will be stops when the progesterone have a negative feedback. It will suppress the GnRH to release the LH and the FSH. That is why they have a negative feedback. So the stimulation of LH and FSH will be stopped. What will happen next? This progesterone play a role in the formation of the new endometrium wall on the uterus. This progesterone have a role in the formation of new endometrium wall on the uterus. So this corpus luteum, when it is developed, they will form what? Corpus albicans. So when it is developed, so what will happen? This corpus albicans will stop this progesterone and the inhibin. So this is about the hormonal control of oogenesis. So now let us discuss the another important topic, that is the structure of the human ovum. So human ovum is nothing but what? It is a female gamete which is a haploid. So what does this firstly do? So the primarily which will concerned with what? It is receiving the sperms. Whatever the sperm it is released by the male, it will received by the ovum. So the structure of this ovum, which is about spherical. It is a spherical, non-motile and with the yolky cytoplasm which will enclosed by a egg membrane. So what is this? The structure of this ovum, it is spherical. It is non-motile. That means they cannot move from one place to the another. But sperm is a motile. So here it is a non-motile, spherical and which is having a yolky cytoplasm which will enclose by the egg membrane. So there are different parts of this human ovum, that is what? Zona pellucida, corona radiata, ooplasm, germinal vesicle and the germinal spot. So these are the important parts of human ovum. So now let us look into the what all they present and what all they do. First one, that is the zona pellucida. So zona pellucida, it is the what? It is the thick membrane, you can see here. So the thick membrane, that is nothing but the zona pellucida. So this it will exist after what? After some time of the post fertilization. So this zona pellucida which will form after some time of the post fertilization. What is that? Is nothing but once a fertilization, that means female or the male, when it is fused, they will form what? Zygote. The fertilization process will be done, right, to form a zygote. By that time, they will form that egg. The fertilized egg will form a thick membrane that is known as zona pellucida. That is nothing but the zona pellucida. It is a cellular and the transparent which is composed of glycoprotein. Next is the corona radiata. So corona radiata, it is the outermost layer. You can see after the zona pellucida there is a outermost layer, nothing but corona radiata. So inner to this corona radiata there will be a presence of what? Zona pellucida. Inside the zona pellucida there will be a vitelline membrane. So in between this vitelline membrane there is a one space which will arise, that is nothing but the pre-vitelline space. That means pre-vitelline space. So this corona radiata which is of 2 to 3 layers which is attached to the zona pellucida. So they have a 2 to 3 layers. It may be 3 to 4. It will be varies. So they will attach to the zona pellucida. This corona radiata which is having a 2 to 3 layers which will attach to the zona pellucida. So why it will attach? To supply the vital protein to the cells which will give the nourishment, or they will provide a nutrition to the corona. It will be provided by the corona radiata. So next is the what? Vitelline membrane. So next is the vitelline membrane. So next is the vitelline membrane. So it is nothing but what? Its vitelline membrane is the nothing but the plasma membrane. So it is nothing but the plasma membrane. So the whatever the plasma membrane they will do, the function of the plasma membrane, it is similar to also. So why they have given a vital membrane? Because they have a present in the egg. So which is named as what? Vitelline membrane. So what does this plasma membrane do? What is this function? Where it will control the entry and the exist of the some substances. Whatever the substance are necessary, they will take it off. Or unnecessary, they won't take the substances. So that is about the vitelline membrane. So next is the germinal vesicle. So what do you mean by germinal vesicles? Germinal vesicle is nothing but what? It is a nucleus. It is nothing but the nucleus which is called as germinal. The large nucleus which is present in the egg, it is nothing but the germinal vesicles. Inside this there is a spot, that is nothing but the germinal spot which is having a nucleolus which will carry the genetic materials. That is nothing but the germinal spot. So what is that ooplasm then? So the cytoplasm of the cell which is called as ooplasm. The cytoplasm of the cell which is called as a ooplasm, and it is covered, as I told, the ovum which will be covered by a plasma membrane, that is known as oollema. The space between the oollema and the zona pellucida. Zona pellucida and the oollema, there will be a space, that is nothing but the pre-vitelline space. So this is about the structure of the human ovum. So which is consist of what? Zona pellucida, corona radiata, ooplasm, germinal vesicle and germinal spot and the vitelline membrane. So these are the very important parts of the human ovum, and they may ask for the 3 or 5 marks. So next we will discuss about the spermatogenesis and the oogenesis. The difference between the spermatogenesis and the oogenesis, and the sperm and the ovum. Now let us discuss the difference between the spermatogenesis and the oogenesis. And the oogenesis. So spermatogenesis, as we know that it is occurs in the testes, whereas the oogenesis it is occurs in the ovary. So it is occurs in the testes, it is occurs in the ovary. So what is the second difference? So it takes place inside the seminiferous tubule of the ovary. So it is seminiferous tubules of the ovary, whereas the oogenesis which will takes place inside the follicles. Which will takes place inside the follicles. The spermatogenesis which takes place the inside of the seminiferous tubules of the ovary, testes. So this oogenesis which will be taken place inside the follicles of the ovary. So what will happen next? So each spermatogonium which will produce what? Haploid functional sperms. They will produce a haploid functional sperms. So whereas here the oogenesis, that means each oogonia which will produces only one functional ootid. One functional ootid, that is nothing but the ovum. And so here in spermatogenesis, the polar bodies are not at all produced. Here the polar bodies will be producers. So here what will happen? Polar body not produced. Here it will be produced. The polar body will be produced, right? So next will be the meiosis 1 and the meiosis 2 divisions produces the equal size. As we know that the spermatogenesis, meiosis 1 as well as the meiosis 2 will be going to take place. That means the cell division is going to take place by the meiosis 1 as well as the meiosis. That means they will have a equal sized cells. So here what will happen? So the meiosis 1 and the meiosis 2 division which is going to produce an unequal sized cells. As I told, they will produce what? One secondary oocyte and the one polar body. So which is unequaled. The size will be unequal. Here they will form a equal size cells. So next difference it is it is associated with the Sertoli cells. They will associated with the Sertoli cells. Why? Because they will provide a nourishment to the male germ cell within the process of spermatogenesis. Whereas here in oogenesis, it is associated with the granulosa cells, which will be associated with the granulosa cells. So next will be the next difference is the growth phase is short. So the growth phase is very short. Here the growth phase which is longer, which is having a longer growth phase. So this is the difference between the spermatogenesis as well as the oogenesis. So next we will discuss about the difference between the sperm and the ovum. So now we will discuss about the differentiation between the sperm and the ovum. So sperm means what? It is a male gamete. The ovum is the female gamete. Right? It is one difference, right? So in the sperm, so they have, it is a tadpole like, it is a sperm is just like a tadpole, whereas in the ovum it looks like what? It is a spherical. As I told, the structure of the ovum will be spherical. It is in the sperm, it is just like a tadpole, right? So next it is as we know, the sperm is motile. They can move from one place to the another place. Ovum is non-motile. They cannot move. So that is the another difference. In sperm, nucleus is condensed. Here nucleus is the condensed in the sperm, whereas here in the ovum, the nucleus is what? Vesicular. So it is a vesicular. So next difference is there will be a extra membrane are absent. So this in sperm there will be an extra membrane will be absent, whereas in the ovum there will be a presence of extra membrane, that is called as oolyma. There will be a presence of extra membrane, that is nothing but the oolyma. It is absent, it is present. So next will be the mitochondria. Here in sperm, the mitochondria, it is spiral and they are arranged in the what? In the middle piece. So the mitochondria, which will, what they will do? They will act as an what? It is an engine box. So they will present on the middle piece. Here what they will do? The mitochondria will be scattered. That means it is not present that much. It will be scattered in the ooplasm. And here in the sperm there will be a presence of acrosome. Here the absence of the acrosome. So next is they will have a single set of parental chromosomes. Here in the female it has a single set of maternal chromosome. Here they have a single set of paternal chromosome. Here they have a maternal chromosomes. And what these sperms are formed from the testes and it is formed from the ovary. So it is in the sperm there is no presence of yolk. Here the presence of yolk will be present. So that is nothing but what? Except in the human ovum it has a yolk. In human egg there will be a absence of yolk, but in other animals there will be a presence of yolk. So this is nothing but the sperm and the ovum.